exam or before conversion exam from MPhil to PhD. And after the oral exam, they also must again subject their work to the anti-plagiarism checker. And if the work is not subjected to the anti-plagiarism checker, after the oral exam, the PG board now will not take the paper as being the corrected version. And before the student can submit now at the library, the work is going to be submitted again through a gateway, Turnitin gateway. So we have 3 levels now to ensure that people actually comply with the set threshold limit which we have at OAU. Presently, the threshold is 20%. We are thinking of again reducing the thing to 18%, which is the best practice. But be rest assured that we are going to inform you when we are going to do the change. To do the training today is no other than Dr. Mrs. O.A. Adeagbo, who is the Dr. Mrs. O.A. Adeagbo, who is the ICT head in the library. She's actually the Turnitin administrator for Obafemi Awolowo University. And she is the librarian in charge of creating Turnitin account for students and all the other works. Assisting her today, Mr. Dapo Ademo, who is the librarian in charge of creating Turnitin account for students and generating the certificate. Also, we have Mr. Sunday Koka and Mr. Israel Akiyele. They are the ones in charge of Turnitin clearance being issued to students. So without wasting much time, so that we can maximize the time we have, because the meet is supposed to be 1 hour, maximum 1.5 hours for questioning. So I will hand you over to Dr. Mrs. O.O. Adiago, who will share her slides and her experiences. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And I would like to appreciate you, sir. I'm a university librarian for this opportunity to be able to take the university as a whole through Turnitin. Thank you for the initiative. And I also want to appreciate all our attendees, all our lecturers, our supervisors from wherever we are. As you have heard, I'm Dr. Mobolade Adeagbo from the University Library. And today this initiative came up because of the issues that we have been having with our postgraduate students, especially for those who are supposed to have graduated and supposed to submit their thesis for final clearance. So, and that was what brought about the training for today. I'm going to share my slide. I will just take us through, I'm sure most of us were used to, but I will still just take us through the basic rudiments when we talk of Turnitin and when we're talking about plagiarism and all those stuff. So I will know what to tell our students and how to take them along. I believe we can all see my screen. So Turnitin and for OAU, what we are to know. As we are now, Turnitin is having a lot of features for institutions, depending on what we have paid for, which I'm going to show us. And we all know that what Turnitin does is to check the originality of the student work and as well as to prevent plagiarism. But there is a new aspect that we need to look into also. That's the grading aspect that has been provided by Turnitin. So that would be another training entirely. We are working on that because it makes our work so easy. If we can grade through Turnitin, it will help a lot. So, and the facility is there for us to make use of. So that one would be for another training. It won't be for today. But what we're here today is how we can help our students, especially those who are about to graduate and even those who are coming in, so that they can start well and they wouldn't be having problem with Turnitin along the way. So we know Turnitin checks with online journals. It checks your paper against previously submitted papers, academic databases, and all those stuff. And it will generate the results, which we as an instructor, which we will see. And I'm going to show us for those of us that have not been using it. So we need to hammer it home for our students, whether undergraduates or postgraduates, although for now we're using Turnitin mainly for postgraduate students. But it's the best thing that will be for us in this university is to take it right from the beginning, so that the undergraduates, even when they are writing, they will know that they are not to plagiarize. I know of some of the departments that are doing that on the campus. So it will be very good for we as their lecturers, as their supervisors, to let them know that once they are taking people's work as their own, they have plagiarized, and it will be sanctioned, especially if they are caught. So plagiarism at all levels is frowned against. And why do we need this at this time? All our thesis now, we have the mandate, especially at the library, that all postgraduate thesis should go online. Before, we were only uploading to the IR the abstracts and maybe a few pages of the introduction. But now, the mandate that we have is to upload the entire thesis. When you talk of university ranking, these are the things that count towards that. So that's why we have to do that. But in uploading, we have to know what we are uploading. And that's what brought about this final check when students are to graduate, or maybe they have graduated, when they are to do their final submission, to check the similarity level of their work. So, but we shouldn't wait till that time, because we have so many. Even there was one in the library, a old grown-up man. The man was nearly crying that we are victimizing him, and it wasn't our fault, because if this work has been done properly from the onset, he wouldn't have that problem. It was, I think he had about 40 something, and I told him there is nowhere you will go. It can't fly. Anything above 20 for now, just as the provost has said, we are working towards 18% or 15%. So, but for now, anything above 20 will not, even if it is 21, it will not fly. So we need to hammer it home right from the beginning now to our students, how they are not to plagiarize and what they can do. These are the different types of plagiarism. I'm not going to go through that. I'm sure we are all used to that. Some pick it everything and dump it like that. So we have different, we have self and all those stuff. Now, according to Cook and Stickler 2008, there are 7 deadly sins of plagiarism. Whether we are students, we are lecturers, we are researchers, it's cut across board. So once we are not given proper credits when we are citing, when we are writing, or the quotation we are not using properly, or we did not paraphrase appropriately, definitely they will be committing those sins of plagiarism. So we need to put our students through all this, and even ourselves, so as to know how not to plagiarize. And those are some things that we can do, and then we can teach them. Like we can even make it as a point of duty for us, any of our new students, our research students, to tell them they should find what are the things that you can do so as not to plagiarize. So number one is that they are to keep track of all the sources, and it's the onus lies on that student or the researcher to be well organized. As you get sources online, you keep them appropriately, you label them, you use all the referencing software that we have. We have Mendeley, you have EndNote. You make use of them judiciously. So you are keeping track of all the citations, of all your references, So that's one way to do it. Another thing that the student must know is that when they quote properly. When they paraphrase, they have to learn how to paraphrase. Our students don't know, most of them don't know how to paraphrase. And paraphrasing is an art that is learned. They have to know how to paraphrase and do it properly, not just changing some words, few words in a sentence and you are done. No, they have to. And they must know the use of in-text citations and the use of plagiarism checker, just like the Turnitin that we have. And from the training we just had for them, we have encouraged them. The library is there. They are to have their own personal account. So if you have students, please encourage them. They can send a mail to plagiarism check at OAU Ife. We are going to send the link .edu.ng for them to have their own personal Turnitin account. Then they can use it to turn in their work over and over until the work is okay. And they can start they have chapters 1 to 3. They can always start with that, start checking. So those are the sources. Now, I was talking about quotations. Some will lift words without putting the appropriate quotation. Like we have the main text here, and we could see the quoted one that was done incorrectly and the quoted ones that were done correctly. So we have to train them on how to quote because it will help them in their writing. We shouldn't just assume that students know what they do. We have had students, not one, not two, not three. They know it because their work has not been properly written and they are having problem with Turnitin. They will now put their quotation marks everywhere, quoted a whole paragraph, a whole chapter of the work, so which is not allowed. And that they do in the bid of throwing off Turnitin. It's not only quotation marks they do. Some use other symbols. They will not see it, but you as an instructor, when you check through their work, you will see, which I'm going to show us. Also, to paraphrase is an art, as I've said, it has to be learned. And the way you learn it is by doing it. They have to learn how to paraphrase. You don't come about it easily. We all know that. So we have to tell them, give them work to do, and allow them to paraphrase their work. By the time they paraphrase, if there is an article that says that you paraphrase once, you paraphrase again, and then you paraphrase the third time before you impute it into your work. So it's a lot of work, but to get, when we are talking of academic integrity, we have the price. They must be ready to pay the price if their work is to fly. So for Turnitin, most of us, we know that we have 5 major colors that Turnitin works with. When you see blue, it shows that there is no matching to that work that was, no match to the work that was uploaded. And most of the time we have issues like that with people in the languages. You know, when you have submitted the work written in Yoruba, definitely, if such a work does not appear anywhere online, Turnitin will not have anything to check it with. So it will have blue. Then for works between 1 to 24% with matching text, then you have the green. And that's where everybody's supposed to be. Even OAU, ours is from 1 to 20%. 21% will not be taken. By the time we are not having yellow, we are having orange, we are having red, those ones are danger zones. So we don't even go near that. We work within 1% to 20% for OAU. And we always advise our students when they're going for their maybe post or pre or their oral exams, they should work towards maybe 15 or 16 because as the work is being accumulated online, when they come back to check, it might have increased. Research is going on everywhere, all over the world. So we should even make it as a point of duty for our students not to target that borderline of 20%. So maybe 15 or 16, they will be comfortable like that. And by the time they are now doing the final submission, they won't have any problem. And we have the policy here for the students that it's a must according to section 4 for the policy or PG school policy. Students must, you can't go beyond 20%. And as I've said, the students, they are to have their accounts with the university library. So they will need their first and their last name. You must know their faculty and the email address that they want to use. Please, that I've not been able to change it. It's plagiarism, not plagiarism. Plagiarism for that link, please. Plagiarism check at oauife.edu.ng. So for students who are going for final clearance, the way they do their own is different. They can't use the account that they have used as a student again. They have to generate an account through their NetQ page, and they will need to use a new email address for them to be able to log on to that page. They have to use a new email address, and when they do that, they won't be able to see the final results, and they will not be able to resubmit. But as their instructor, you could have checked their work, or even themselves before bringing it, the account that they have, they're supposed to have checked the work and ensure that it is within the threshold before submitting for the final clearance. Final clearance is final. No resubmission will be allowed once the student is submitted. Although we're having students that are having problems because we are just having this training. So what we will ask them to do is that they will go back, they will go and work down their work to be within the accepted threshold, and then they will now follow the same process again from their NetQ page. That means they will have to create a new email account as if they are trying to submit newly and then now submit, because they can't on their page that will be generated to them, they cannot resubmit. So I'm going to go off here. We'll go to our page. I will share another page for us. I'm going to share my screen, and then I will take us in as an instructor. For those of us that do not have the Turnitin account, please, I'm going to leave my email address here. Please, you can send your first and your last name, your faculty, and your email address to me. I hope we can see my page. Okay, so I'm going to log in. I want to log in now as an instructor. I'm using someone because I don't want to use my own page. It won't show what I want to show. So I created another page for this training mainly. So I'm logging in. It means that I've already created the account. So if you don't have an account, you won't be able to get to where I am. But if you have an account, even as we create the account for you newly, this is where it will bring it to. And we add it to your faculty's page, your faculty's class. So you like this person now, the person was added to arts. And as you can see, at the topmost part of the Turnitin page, you see the name. How we can see it, that is where your name will be. So it will show you that this is your own account. Your name must be there, your first name and your last name. Then your user information, you can click on it to see. For your user information, you see your email address. Maybe the email address you are using is having problem, you can change it. Then your password, you can change it. Maybe you want to change that secret question, because when you were creating the account, Turnitin would have asked you for a secret question, so that if you forget your password, for you to be able to regenerate, whatever you want to do, you can do it. And there is a default page. You will see that you have been added as an instructor. Some of us can be a student as well as an instructor. So I can actually I can be using the same page for my position as an instructor and as well as a student also. So it's possible. Then here, I'd already said that I want it whenever I want to upload, I've set that it should be a single file. Actually, it's advisable that you leave it as default, but there are some things that you can change. like activate quick submit, you can activate it. So you will see the quick submit there. Items to see per page, I can increase it from 50. That is, if you're having students, you can see at a time 100 or 50 as the case may be. So all others is better you leave them as default, but they are nothing really there. So when I'm done, I will just say submit so that it can take note of the new changes that I have put in place. Then I go back to, as shown us, you can have, if there are messages, either from Turnitin or from the administrator, this is where we'll see it. If there is any announcement, maybe there is a scheduled maintenance by Turnitin, you will always get an information, you get a message. If the account is about to expire, it will send the message to you. So, and this is where that one is after the user info, where you have the messages. Then, as I've said, your instructor, if you are working as an instructor, you can come in as an instructor. If you have been added, maybe you're a student somewhere, you have been added as a student and you're on Turnitin. See, I'm added as a student also. So you see that the name of the class and the instructor. So you can come in either as a student or as an instructor on your page. And you can see that there is nothing we can change this to. English will always be English, except maybe if we have people who understand German or Dutch or something more than English, so you can change it to that. Then the community is for us to have a look at anytime we have the time, because it will take us to the community of educators on the Turnitin network. So what is new, you will see there. What is coming on, what people are talking about is always information on their new features, new release. And even if there are problems, is always there, which we can go through. We in OAU, our Turnitin is not through any LMS, it's a direct access, because we are not using Blackboard, we are not using Moodle, we are not using any learning management system. So we log in straight from our browser. So I want to go back to, we are still with me. Please, I will stop sharing so I will share again. I want to go back to the page that we were. So now we want to move into, sorry, okay. We are back to our class. So as an instructor, if you move down to where you have all classes, all the classes that you have created will show. I will show us how to create class for those of us that don't know. And then maybe a colleague is asking you to join his or her class. You can always, it will show here. The account would have been provided, so you will see it here. It will be there. Then for the quick submit that I initiated, I can, without creating class, I don't want to go through the stress of maybe it's my paper or something like that. I can always use quick submit. But remember that I initiated it on the user's information page. If you don't initiate it, by default, it is no. If I put no there and I go back to my page, I won't have access to it again. I've put no and I say submit, I won't have access to quick submit again, because at times you might check your colleague's page, but I don't have quick submit on my own page. You see, it's no longer there as an option. The only option I'm having here is all classes or join accounts. The quick submit has been removed. So if you want to use the feature quick submit, I have to go and initiate it, activate it on quick submit on the user info, which on the, yes, the user info, which is there. I say yes, and then I say submit. So it's back there. So for maybe I have a paper that I want to quickly, I don't want to put in any class, I don't want to bother myself about that. I can easily, it does the same thing. Just come here. Then where do I want the papers? No, for my own personal paper now. Where do I want it to go to? As in in which areas do I want Turnitin to check? I can just check everything, check the internet, check student paper, search periodicals. And one major thing that we must not forget is this submit paper to, you have to take it off standard paper repository. It has to be no repository. Please, we must have that as at the back of our mind. Once we create a class, when we are doing the setting, always set to no repository. Because if you put it as standard repository, that means that whatever you submit, once you are resubmitted, if you want to check again, it will be reading against what you have submitted. And the policy we have here is for resubmission. You can submit as many times as possible. So for you to be able to use that, please change it to no repository. So I've already done that, and I say submit. So it will now bring me my name, the paper, the title, and then where that paper is. So it's that is normal process. So I can just maybe pick anything I want to submit there. I will just put it, my name. I know my name. My name is my name. I can just put anything I want to. And here, submit. When we see single file, because we have already specified when we indicated it when we were starting that it should be single file. In case if we do not, and it's showing maybe cut and paste, we can always change it back. You can change it to whatever it is you want to. Maybe you want to submit multiple files at a time. You want to submit single file, or maybe it's a zip file that you want to upload. You can change it to whatever it is that you want to. If you are using cut and paste, that means you copy. You won't just upload directly. You copy from wherever the work is on your system, and then you paste it. But if you are using a single file, I can easily go and pick the work. So I'm using a single file. This is it. My name is there already. I say paper, that the title of the work that I want to submit. Then I go to where it is on my system. I must already know where I'm going to. If it's on desktop, I go there. If it is in the documents, wherever I've kept it. So I'm picking this. I say I'm running it, and then I say upload. So what we have here is what you see for the digital receipts. It's coming up. It's giving me the size, the assignment, telling me that I'm submitting it through quick submit. And what the title is paper, and the work, the file name, the word that overcomes death, the file size is there, and the page count is just 3 pages. That the paper I'm submitting is just 3 pages. The total word count and the character are also given. So I have to confirm. I confirm it for Turnitin, then I'm good to go. It's telling me that I can go back, or if I have something else I want to submit again, I can continue submitting. But if I don't have anything else to submit, I go back to the inbox. So now at the inbox, you will see that it's waiting for the results. So I can do something. I can click on home. And I click on home, and then I go back to quick. I want it to come up on time. So at times, if you log in and log out, the result will come. So the result has come. And this is what the similarity score for what I submitted is 17%. This is my name, because it was my name I used in submitting. And then this is the title of the paper I submitted. This is the similarity index. And if I click on it, it will take us to the ID of that paper that I submitted is very, very, very important. If any paper we submit to Turnitin, if it has issue, if we cannot produce the ID, Turnitin will not be able to do anything. But as long as we can produce the ID of the paper submitted, it can always be traced. Maybe we mistakenly submitted and we want it deleted, or we mistakenly, maybe we didn't click off standard repository, and then we submitted to the repository and we want to take it off. We need the paper's ID number. Please, let's know that we must know the paper ID number for any work that has a problem. So now I want to check the similarity index. Already, I know I've passed. I have 17%. Actually, what we do for student work, good. I'm even happy that it's bringing this out. What we do for student work is that we go off. For I open it, I will go off. I'll open it again. I open it for like 2 or 3 times. The reason being that I'm going to show us there are times that a student work will be flat, but if we are to just click on it just once like that, the system might not show it. But if you open it, you close, open it again, and close. By then, the system, whatever it is wrong that is wrong with the work, you will be able to see it. So I'm going to. This is the report of the work that I sent, and the work is giving me 17%. But if you are to see what I'm pointing at, that's the feedback aspect of Turnitin, which we will start using by the time we start using the grading aspects. It helps some of our lecturers might have been using it. If as an instructor, if it's a student that submitted this work, if there is any feedback I want to write, I will put it here. But we must have initiated it before we can do that. And that's why I said that we'll come back. That will be a training for another time. So we are not going to that today. But where we are starting today is where we have the similarity tools. If you put your cursor on it, it will bring up similarity tools and click on it. This is what we are looking for. It is because of this flag, where we have 0 flag, that I ask us to put it off and on. And if by the time we put it off and put it on for like 2 or 3 times, if there is anything to be flagged, you will see it there as an instructor. A student will not see it, but you as an instructor, you are going to see it. It's either you have one, or you have, if I click on it, it will tell me that there are no hidden texts and there are no replaced characters. Now I was talking about quotation marks and use of symbols. This is where you will see it. If students, if they have added quotation marks indiscriminately, it will flag it. If they have put maybe ampersand or any symbol in between their work, so as to throw off Turnitin, you will see it here. Although it will read the normal percentage, but it will tell you that this work has been tampered with. So you as the supervisor or as the lecturer now, you can now use your initiative to deal with the students. We know how we handle them in the library. So this is where you see it, where it is flagged. But if you don't do it at times, if you don't do it over 2, 3 times, it might not bring it up. So the next one that we are having there, is not shared. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me. Well, share. Okay. Let me go and share. Sorry, let me go and share the report aspect, please. Thank you. I have my people here who are calling me to hold that. Thank you very much. I'll go and share the report aspect. It was because it was presented on another tab. So we can see it now. So the first blue side that we can see, that 1, 2, 3, 4 are for the grading that I said we're going to talk about another day. But for today, we're talking about the similarity and how to catch students if they are trying to be smart. So I said for you to open the result, it's better you open it, close it, open it for like 2, 3 times. So the 0 here is telling us that this work that we have run is not flat. It has no hidden text. It has no replaced characters. At times, it might flag, especially for faculties or department that uses symbol. So that's where you need to now go through. If it is normal symbol that the students have used, no problem. If it's normal characters that is expected in the work that students have used, there won't be any problem. So for the flagging, it is left to the instructor's initiative to check whether the student, maybe it is a rifle flagging or it is a flagging that has been done in a way that the student is trying to throw off Turnitin. So now we are we have checked the similarity. That's for the flagging aspect. Then the similarity index from the similarity tools, as you can see, if you click on it, is 17. So for us to see, this work is telling us that it has 6 sources that has been checked against. The first source is 7%. If it is a thesis, it is too high. Even if it is a paper, it is advisable that for per source, the similarity index shouldn't be more than 2%. So if this is a thesis, although the student passed 17%, the student will still need to go and work it down, especially where we're having 7 and 4%. All the sources, they have to go down. And if you click on it, it will show us, okay, like this one, they said details are no longer available. So that means that we might not be able to see most of it, but you can see it's telling us that this source, this main source is from spiritualjournals.com. That 7% is basically from spiritual, that is most of the things that the students have written is from that single source, which for academic work, it is too high. So if for student work, you need to ask the students to go and work down. Although the student has passed, 17% is a pass mark for our threshold. But by the time we are not looking at it in an in-depth way, we know that students still have some work to do to balance those sources. It's better you have spread sources than you having a concentrated sources. Like there was one work that we ran in the library. The student had 14% and it was just from one source. So that student had to go and, we didn't even know what the student did to the work. Had to go and rework it. Just 14% from one source is not allowed. So the student had to go and work it, and the student is still working on it as I'm talking to us. So another thing that we can do, when we come here, we can reset. I'm trying to pick them one by one. You can, if you click on all sources, it will show us, as I've shown us, it should show us all the sources. These are all the sources. The breakdown of all those 7%, 4%, those are all the sources. Then if we move, we can reset from here. Maybe we didn't remember to, because in OAU, we do give students between 5 to 7 words off. If you are having similar words of between 5 to 7 words, it won't be penalized. So I can just put it that words that are within 5, maybe it is a dog, or it is a black dog. If that it is a black dog, anywhere Tontin sees it, anyway, it will not pick it. Because I've already said that 5 words, I'm okay with 5 similar words together. Then I said that here in OAU, we do exclude quotations. In other universities, they might not do that. But here in OAU, we do. We exclude bibliography, which is our references. We don't check references. Please, this is supposed to be 5, not 15. 5 words. So now I want you to apply this new setting that I did here, the field string, and then let's see if there will be any change to the score. So it will apply, it's still the same thing. There is no change to the score. So another thing is that Turnitin uses multicolors. It uses about 12, I think 12 or 13 colors. So it will number in order of magnitude. The higher the similarity, those ones will come first before the lower ones. So, but the colors, they don't really matter, because by the time you have 1 to 12, the color will start again. So what matters is the content. And when students are saying, my name is being highlighted, preliminary pages are being highlighted, those ones are already taken care of. They should leave all highlights for preliminary pages alone. They should go and focus on the body, starting from their chapter 1 to chapter 5. And some of them too, they have problem with acknowledgements. Maybe the person lifted the work from somewhere or something. So the acknowledgement to even within preliminary pages could have problem. But once it's not that, any other thing in preliminary should be left alone. Like if it is a title, or the thesis is being submitted as partial, all those ones, they have been taken care of in the 20% that we have given to students, so they can leave that. Now, the next one, as you can see, the arrow is showing us that we can download. And what are the things that we can download? For the reports, you can, that the current view will show us the report as it is. You can download those, you can download three things. What you have originally submitted. So Turnitin is serving as an online storage for you. In case maybe your system crash or something happen, you can actually, you can go back to the Turnitin page where you uploaded your work and re-download. You can do that. Then we download digital receipts, because your student might have been telling you that I was told to come with my digital receipt. This is where the digital receipt is. It's a single page, and it will tell us, you know, when we were uploading, I told us the number of pages, number of characters, the number of words, and all those stuff. That's where you have, and the ID. The digital receipt will have the ID of that paper. So it's always very, very crucial to keep that also. And as I've said, the originally submitted file. So now, let me go and share again. Okay, I'll go to what I've downloaded. But before I leave this page, we also have a new addition from Turnitin, which is what we call AI intelligence. There have been so many articles, and so many, maybe some of us would have seen it, that Turnitin cannot detect artificial intelligence. Is a lie. They too, they have upped their games, and they are working every day. If we have students that knows how to, they know their way through the internet, I'm sure they would have known what we call the chat GPT. It's one of the new online artificial intelligence writing that you can, I will show us. If I input anything, it will give me results. So now Turnitin also, it has a way of checking. So once you see it for new, starting, I think it started April 6th of this month. That's when they added it. Any submission that you do after April 6th will be checked against AI. Formal ones cannot be checked. If you want to check formal ones, that means you have to re-upload it. Maybe you have a paper or you have a work that you want to check. You have to re-upload it. And some of our thesis might not be up to AI because, you know, thesis is bulky. But when you talk of papers, maybe you ask them to submit 10 papers or assignments or things like that. So those ones you check against AI. So the AI percentage of this work that we have is 0%. So it's okay. I'm sure because this is a new development, the PG board will need to decide how many percentage AI for AI that will be taken also, because it's a crucial, it's a new thing, because we have AI for academic writing. And AI has not come to replace human brain. It's supposed to assist. It's supposed to make our work easy. But we know our students are always very, very smart. So, and for them to be smart, which we have to up our games. So the PG school will need to decide what percentage of AI that will be taken in line with the 20% for Turnitin. So maybe it will be 20% or 30% or 50%. So that means that any work that is above that percentage, the students will have to go and rewrite. That will be the implication. I'm sure our provost is already taking note of that. So we will need to look into it properly. We will need to sample other universities so that we won't be shooting ourselves in the leg. We need to look at it properly. It came up this month, it's a new development. All right, sir. We will do that. We will do that. So yes. It will rewrite it. That is it. Chat GPT is a new, so that was why throughout since last year, the Chat GPT was released November last year, and since then Turnitin have not been having sleep because so many were able to skate through, and to the extent that there were some schools that were writing against them that Turnitin cannot detect AI writings. But now they too, they have upped their game. So students that will use, and you know that we don't even allow, because we are not using LMS, we are not using learning management system. I think we were using Moodle or we are using Blackboard. That our students, they have to do it directly. They use it a lot. So some institutions in the US, they actually they disabled the use of chat GPT on their pages, because it was giving them a lot of the problem. You know, imagine you picking somebody's thesis and then you just turn it over and you are able to submit, because there was no machine that can detect the plagiarism that has been done. So it's an innovation, and it's not taking away the brain, it's not taking away the supervisors or our lecturers. It's just that we have to up our games. Whatever they are using, we too should go online and check on it. We should read more on artificial intelligence writing, especially as it concerns academic writing rather. We need it. Recently, I think Pharmagnosis, they did a seminar on it. So we need something like that in all our departments. Our students need to, what are the challenges? What are the opportunities? It helps, because with this AI, you can grade what you can do in 1 hour. You know, imagine it being reduced to about 30 minutes and or 25 minutes and you are done. So it has its opportunities and as well as the challenges. So I believe we are done with that. So I want to take us, I'll go off this screen also. I will share the report that was downloaded so that we can see how it looks like. A minute, please. Can you see my screen? Nope. Okay. Okay. Go on. I'll come on. Okay. This is the paper that I downloaded. So the report will be at the end. It will be at the last page of the paper. No, we are taking this just as an example. So if you see on the first page, you see the submission date, the submission ID, and I keep on hammering on the ID. We have to keep the ID of any work that we are uploading to Turnitin. Then the file name, the count, and the word count and the character count. So the next page is where the work starts. Then we go, you can see where it has highlighted the number 1, telling me that these are where the 7% is from. That was that. No, we have one source that had 7% similarity score. So like that one, now if it's a student, the person has to go and work on anyone with ones that he sees, have to go and work it down, because the index there is too high. So, and then I move on. I want to see the score, the similarity index. This is it. So this page, just this first page, and the digital receipt is what the student is expected to print and take down to the library for the certification that will be given. So, and you can see the old sources that are there. And it's because I've already, I said the exclude quotes is on, exclude bibliography. So it means that you can actually, at the end of each paper you submit, you can see the setting. If you need to go back and reset, you can see at the end of that report, the setting would have been listed there. So, and it's giving us, because you know we have not graded. So I said we are going to, there will be another meeting for this, another training for this. So I think it's a time paper or maybe it's an assignment that you are giving to students. So this is where the grades that you are giving them, this is where it will show. So I think I am done. Yes, with that, I am done. Then we now go back to our turnitin page on how to create class and how to create assignments. So I will stop sharing this. I'll go back to my turnitin page now. I think I'm here. This not where I want to put. Whether they can do what, sir? Yes, they can. They can. Before we go to the second aspect, they can't. They can. I think we should be able to unmute ourselves. I can see Dr. Awolowo, Michael Awolowo raising his hand.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mizadiagbo.
Thank you, ma'am. May I know who's speaking?
Okay, this is I'm Michael Awolowo.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Awolowo.
Thank you for your brilliant submission and illustrations. And I was so glad when you mentioned the issue of ChatGPT. And was also glad when you talked about the opportunity that we have there now, that Turnitin now has a place where they can enable the checks for AI-generated tests. So I don't know if you can demonstrate that to us, so that we'll see how that. To check for AI-generated tests. You get that?
Yeah, I do.
So,
I do. And you know, like
I'm talking about within Turnitin.
Yes, the paper I showed you, which I want to, it has, if you are following me, it has 0%. You will see it there. I'm trying to take us back there now. It has 0% for the AI. Where is the report? I'm coming. I'm trying to look. Okay, let me stop sharing now. Hello? Are we together, please?
Yes, we are with you.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Okay.
Where we have AI.
Okay.
Can you see it there?
Yeah,
so I didn't mean that this work, if it was generated by artificial intelligence, it would have, the score would have been maybe 2 or 20 or 30. Okay. And by the time you click on it, you understand? By the time you click on it, it will bring up words that has been generated. But unfortunately, the work I use has not been generated. So let me share. Once you click on it, let me share what you will see.
I've seen it now. I think I'm glad. This particular menu in the original, this particular one, the AI, the blue colored logo.
The last one, where we are having 0%.
That's great now. Yeah,
that is it. So if the work has been written by the computer, you understand? Once you click on it, let me share my page again. Once you click on it, you will see it.
Okay.
It will take you to where the can you see what I can see there? How much of this submission has been generated by AI? So that's where it's 0. So there is nothing to show here. And if there is any one that has been generated by AI, it will tell you where and what was used, whether it was ChatGPT or whatever it is that has been used in writing. Even when students use Pinboat, you know, at times you go online to go and turn over your work when you are trying to, instead of you to sit down to paraphrase. There are so many tools online that can be used. It will show you and it will tell the lecturer, it will tell the instructor the actual tool that has been used. So we should give kudos to the guys, the ICT guys in Turnitin. They are not sleeping. Any questions? Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Professor Joao, please.
Mute. Okay, thank you, please.
You're welcome.
Yeah, please, I just need maybe more information about these AI things, artificial intelligence things, vis-a-vis the Turnitin. So quite unfortunate for me, I joined the presentation a bit late. I have an online lecture I have to deliver.
Okay.
So, I just need more information there so that we can go and dig deep into it again and familiarize ourselves with it.
All right,
Thank
sir.
you. Yes.
The little thing I said about AI for this training is that it started, Turnitin started as in they started it on April 6th. Any other work that had been uploaded before April 6th would need to be re-uploaded before you can have results on AI. AI, is artificial intelligence. We have them all over. It was OpenAI that came about it. They added it to Google in November last year. For Google itself, we have ChatGPT, which if there is time, I can show us. And what it does is that even any assignment you give to your students, the student can just, if the student knows how to phrase properly, drop a phrase and you see answers coming up. So the students can just pick it as it is and then dump into his or her work and submit to you as a lecturer. So what Turnitin is now telling us that Turnitin can detect AI writing. That is artificial intelligence writing. That you don't know, they have already decoded it and they can do it, and they have been doing it. So the work I used as an example, it's from the report that we have here. It shows that it has 0% AI writing. That is, it was written by an individual. It was not written, it was not taken from the internet. So for more on AI, I'm going to send, there are some mails from Turnitin, which I'm going to send to all the users on Turnitin to read on AI. But we have to go and do the own work by ourselves, because what you just see is what I've shown you here, how you can detect, and by detecting, you normal uploading of the student work, and then you are done. So that's if the work is and before we came, sir, we said that it becomes a policy issue also for the university. The university has to decide what percentage of AI we will be taking in line with the Turnitin percentage that we are taking. So maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 20%. The school will decide, and the provost and the PG board, they will let us know as supervisors and lecturer as a whole.
Okay, hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ma, for the brilliant presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Earlier on, you said you will give us your email address so
Yes,
that those of us who want to create the account, we send our first name and surname to you.
Your first name, your last name, and your faculty, please.
And faculty.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, I want to get something right. Is that by the time we have the Turnitin account, we'll be able to do the necessary things on comfort of our homes or offices on the laptops. So we don't need to bring our work to the library anymore.
For the students' work,
yes,
it is expected of each of the students to have their own accounts, and their lecturers also to check what their students are using. When students are still writing, they don't need to come to the library. But if they need to bring maybe their work for, they are going for seminar or they are coming to PG for orals, they need to come to the library for the certification.
Okay.
And without the account being generated by the library, we cannot issue certification.
Okay.
Do you understand, sir? So that is why your students must have their own accounts. They don't need to use their account. You can create an account for them, and you can add them. When you create an account, you can add students to your, you understand? You can add them as students by giving them the enrollment key and the class ID.
Okay.
So you will still be able to monitor what they are doing.
Okay, just like we have on the Google Classroom.
Yes.
Okay.
I hope time will permit, I will show us how to create class and assignments and how to add our students to our page. Yes. So we need to, if the student does not have an account that is generated from the library, the student will not be given certification.
Okay.
So the student must have an account because somebody is in charge in the library. Why it is needed to have an account from the library is because we need to see the back end.
Okay.
This issue of AI that we're talking about, the issue of flagging that we're talking about, is only the instructor that has the account that can see it. The student will not be able to see it.
Okay.
So that is why it is necessary for the student to have an account with the library. Although they might have an account with you as their lecturer, which helps you to monitor what they are doing.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
I have a question too.
Okay.
All right. Dr. Fadare from the Department of Chemistry, and I appreciate all that you have said so far.
Thank you.
Now, but I made an observation recently.
Okay.
I'm working on a thesis together with my MSc student, and because I was working closely with my student on the thesis, even before we went to do Turnitin, we ensured that we took care of plagiarism as much as possible. And to my utter surprise, when we did the Turnitin, just like a preliminary assessment, it returned a score of 28%, which is quite high. But when we went to look at the breakdown, we noticed that, yes, because the work is an interdisciplinary research work, so we used a lot of references and citations, and every reference and citation came back in the Turnitin as less than 1% or 1%. But I have a feeling that if you have very many less than 1% and you add it up, it will still give you a high plagiarism score. Now, the challenge is when we went and started looking at the colored phrases, we just noticed that 5 words, between 5 to 8 words, not up to a sentence, were colored. And maybe by virtue of that, that's why we have less than 1%. Those kind of things will be very difficult to paraphrase. And for how many citations are we going to paraphrase when we have so many less than 1%? So it just came to my mind that, is it not possible for the administrators of the Turnitin to set the threshold in such a way that if you have less than 1% or a 1%, for a quotation or a reference or a citation. Turnitin can ignore things like that, so that when you have 2%, 3%, 4%, then the student or the supervisor will now know that, okay, they have work to do. So that's my question. I want to hear your opinion with respect to that.
Thank you. See, I appreciate you for bringing this up. I had the same problem too when I was working on my PhD thesis. I did mine in UI. I had a lot of less than 1%. And by the time it was amounting to maybe 26%. But let me state this. The setting for the library, we set to between 5 to 7 words. If you go and check at the back, at the end of the report, the student can show you when they as in through their account, you can check. We have it between 5 to 7%, and I mean 7 words. And I explained. I think from what you just said, you understand that you have related words that are not more than 5 or 7. Turnitin will not pick it. That's the setting we use there. Number 2, we say, if you check the report that I showed us, I click off bibliography. Turnitin will not, it might highlight it, but it won't read. It will not read because it's not, we have already said that to exclude, and it will be, you can always justify any report that you get from the library by checking the last page of the results. The setting will be there for you to see.
So what I'm saying, I understand what you're saying. I'm saying that is it not possible to set the Turnitin in such a way that it will ignore less than 1% so that it won't consider it in the calculation?
It's not possible. I told you, I started with the fact that I had the same problem.
Yes, I agree with you. Now, my grouse now is, what do we do in situations like that where you have less than 1% that is
Thank you.
That is adding
for
up
less than 8%. For such situation, most of the citations might have to go, and the person will summarize, because that was what I did. Paraphrase. When you paraphrase properly, you might not need citation, because paraphrasing means that you are using your own words. Summarizing, you are using exactly your own words. When you paraphrase and you are having some of the words from the original text, then you put in quotation, because we exclude quotation also. That's the student does not have any choice other than to go and work off that 8%. So it could be stressful, because I too, maybe for this, for such a thing, I mean, for such a period, that was why I went through the rigor. You will not be able to sleep, but the student have to do it. It's either you let go of, like you are having, like I remember then, I had almost 300 sources. So those sources are all those less than, because by the time you put them together, they are amounting to big figure. So you have to let them go. Some of the sources, they have to go. And students who need to go and check, as the student actually cited the right source, because at times when we get sources, we get papers online, it might not be the actual writer that has been cited. So the onus lies on the students to try and get the right source for all the references that has been used.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes. In as much as I agree with you, I still believe that for us in sciences, there are times when you are making reference to some concepts that no matter how much you want to paraphrase, you still have to use the language that that connotes what we are trying to describe. And at the end of the day, you will still have to use those references and citations. But from your stance now, it looks like we just have to deal with it. We have to find a way to.
You have to. It
around
is
it.
what is obtainable everywhere. It's not even OAU stand. It is what, when you are using Turnitin, that's what you have to. Turnitin has basic settings which I've showed you. There is nothing, no other setting that you can set. So any setting outside this, student will have to now sit down and work. And I told the student that they have to be smart with their work. Research is ongoing every day. New things are being added online. Academic journals are being published every day. And these are the areas that Turnitin will check against. So the student needs to be smart and work fast to get their work done. Thank you very much. Okay. Ma'am, you can come up, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Hope you can hear me. Yes, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for your presentation. Yes. Please, I just want to still talk about the AI, what is it called, percentage. Okay. Because the earlier the college decides the threshold, the better for us. Yes. I ran a walkthrough Turnitin last week. Okay. The SI percentage was 22%, but AI was 44%.
Wow.
So I drew the attention of the supervisor. I said, this your student generated most of his thesis using artificial intelligence software. Mm-hmm. Those software, you can get it on your phone, you can download them anywhere.
Yes.
Anywhere, you know. So the earlier the college comes up with what is it called, a threshold for us, the better. You know, yes. Just like you said, we can look at what obtains in other universities around us and set a threshold. Then I saw that there's something you ran there. You excluded quotation because what of those who insert so many phrases in quotation? What of them? Because I've seen a case in which we had about 300 quotations here, you know, and so these students, they get smart, they get smart by the day. So if you exclude quotation, how do you deal with such things, you know? Because you know all they are trying to arrive at is a reduced SI percentage. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, what they were trying to do is to throw off Turnitin, not even to reduce. They want to throw it off totally. And maybe you were not here when I had talked about that. When we use quotation indiscriminately, it's only the instructors and maybe an administrator that can see it. Students, they will feel that they have done, but some of those quotations and symbols that they do use, Turnitin picks, but some quotations it does not. So the onus lies on, we just don't look at the values, as in the figures, the scores only. Because that's why if you see what we have been hearing, all the allegations that has been leveled against us in the library, they said we are victimizing them. And even there was a student I told, I said, thank God I've had my PhD. Maybe you would have accused me that I want to take your own degree from you. So what the person did, littered the thesis with quotation marks. Instead of going back to sit down, to paraphrase, to summarize, they now put the work, every sentence, every statement, every paragraph. So for such, we need to, the onus lies on us as the instructor, not just to look at the score, at the similarity score, at the AI score, but we now have to take the pain of going through the thesis, just as you must have done, for you to detect that. And for such students, even I've been discussing with, there was a student thesis that I sent to the provost. I think that the university will have to take some steps, some disciplinary actions against such students, because they think that people who are doing the work, they don't know what they are doing. because I don't know what, and there's some students also, after their orals, they will go back, everything that they have removed before orals, they will go back and return it. Even some will tell you that it was their lecturer that asked them to go and return it. So there are issues, and these are policy and management issues, which I'm sure the provost is here, is listening and is taking notes. So, but for such, we have many of them in the library. They are not going anywhere. And that's why this initiative came up, that we should train them early. At the final level, they won't get to anywhere. Especially if it is on my table, they are not going anywhere. Because these thesis that we're talking about, we're going to place them in the high hierarchy. Anybody, anywhere will have access to it. So if we keep on putting plagiarized thesis, what are we celebrating? What are we projecting in OAU? So we are talking of academic integrity, and that is what is holding us back. And for the onus lies on our lecturers and our supervisors to please help us out with all our students. Once orals has been done, thank God that PG now, even after the orals, I think the students still need to run plagiarism again. So there is no how they can't run away from it. Even when they put the quotation mark, they will meet us at the final end. And at the end of the day, we are expecting the verdict from PG school for students who is having over 25 or 26%. Such students will go and reprint and rebind. So after this training and the PG board comes up with whatever it is they want us to do, any student that is having above 25 or 26%, they will not only go and redo it, they will go and rebind the whole things, because by the time they work on the soft copy, definitely it will be different from the hard copy. They will just go and rebind and do everything all over again. I hope the PG board, they will take it off from there. Any other question because of our time?
My hand is still up.
Okay. All right, ma. Yeah, this is Dr. Idele again. During your presentation, ma. Hello? Hello? Hello, can you hear me, ma?
Yes,
okay, I said during your presentation, you mentioned that when submitting for Turnitin, the references or bibliographies are not captured. I don't know if that is correct.
It is.
It is not, okay, that is, my statement is correct.
It is correct.
Okay,
so that means,
okay, they exclude bibliography. That means all those less than,
and that's
less
why
than
we'll still work it down. Excuse me, sir. That's why the school will still go down to like 18% or 15%, because already we are excluding bibliography. For each work, bibliography alone is about 15% of the work.
So I was going to say that the less than one that you mentioned earlier on, they are actually coming from these bibliographies. So if bibliography has been cut off, then I think we shouldn't have the problem of all this less than, and then accumulating into something higher than 20. So like you said, people should just go ahead and
the work will need to be re-uploaded, and let's recheck it.
And then the other thing I want to say is, okay, about the AI, I think the PG has the final say concerning AI, but I just want to advise that the AI thing to be as low as possible, because that will mean that we're encouraging people to go and get computer aided work or getting a machine aided work, and that to me is not a proper thing to do. AI itself is more or less like giving your work to somebody to help you do. AI simply means that you have involved the services of a computer or a particular software to help you do certain part of your work. So that should be as low as possible. If possible, it should be 0. That is my opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We are going to leave that for the management to decide.
Yeah.
Dr. Mary Salah, please. Before she comes up, somebody is asking that, is there going to be penalty for the supervisor whose students so the PG college is going to do that. For any student that flouts the Turnitin rule, the PG college they are going to do. Yes, sir.
Okay, so if your students now
all those they should be penalized. Incentive. So the PG is going to look into that. So there will be incentive for lecturers who are working with their students, and there will be penalty for supervisors whose students default. So, Dr. Salau, please. That will be the last person, if she's still on.
I'm on. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, ma.
All right. Thank you so much, ma, for the beautiful presentation. My comment is not a question, it's just a comment out of observation. I want to submit that even if the overall percentage is less than 20, maybe say 15, and then the components of each of the sources is less than 1 each, I still want to say that supervisors need to be more careful, because sometimes after the candidate must have passed this Turnitin test, and then the candidate is to obtain maybe clearance, then proceed for pre-field seminar and all that. The supervisors still have to go through the work again and read, because it is at that point you will realize that the candidate only managed to reduce the level of plagiarism that's just the percentage, but the content had been distorted. So many register relevant words have been distorted and lost. Then so many sentences have lost their meanings. And so if after the candidates they passed and then it's now less than 15% or less than 20%, and then the candidate is allowed to go through any of the stages, either for pre-field seminar or whatever, then the supervisor himself or herself can run into problem.
Thank you, ma'am.
The supervisor can also run into problem. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for that submission. Actually, is one of the essence of this workshop, interactive session today, to ensure that at the onset we work with our students. And that's why we said they can have their account right from the beginning, from chapters 1 to 3. Once the lecturer, the supervisor is working with the student, like somebody puts it on the chat box, that's a doctor, I don't know whether it's a doctor or a prof, Richard Akinwale, said, my question from my experience, as good as Turnitin is, in some cases, rephrasing and rephrasing of some critical sentences often makes such sentences lose their technical sense. And that was what Dr. Salawu had just said also. So if the students, if the supervisor, we are going back to supervisor now, and that's why we're having the training today. If we actually work with our students, chapters 1 to 3, because the major ones that do have problems is chapter 2. Once the student can skate through chapters 1 to 3, and from the beginning you work with that student, I'm sure the work will be what it's supposed to be. It will be at the final submission, at the final clearance, and then the student will not have to be turning, paraphrasing what he or she is not supposed to paraphrase. So we need to work with our students right from the beginning, and that's where we are hoping to get to. And from what our provost has said, there will be incentive for lecturers that are doing their work, for supervisors who are doing their work, and penalty for lecturers whose students are defaulting. I'm not the one that said it. That's from the provost's mouth. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for your attention since morning and for all the useful contributions. I will ask Dr. Adiago to share her email address with everybody so that if we have further questions, we can always relate to her. And if you have any other issues relating to all this AI and everything for PG board noting, please do a write-up to the provost, and we are going to take it up from there. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. God bless you all.
It will be shared among everybody.
The email address will be shared to everybody.
What is that?
Yes, I'm even sharing it now. Omobolade Adeagbo at oauife.edu.ng. That's my email address.
Omobolade Adeagbo
at oauife.
At oauife.edu.ng.
Or we can send to Turnitin at oauife.
Or send it to Turnitin at oauife.edu.ng.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody, once again. So I hope the deputy provost and
okay.
The deputy provost and you once I forget during the board meeting.
Some people are saying they had a problem with their internet. So they were